Chapter 57, May 20th, 2020, for 16 p.m. At 4:16 p.m., they told us the news about Ashley's condition, and it wasn't good. She's having vivid hallucinations and paranoia right now. It is unknown if her medication might have caused it. Still, it's so strange that you both experience bizarre things so close together, the nurse said, looking right at me. I could feel everyone's eyes turn to look at me, and I felt discomforted by the swarm of eyes. Will they suspect me soon? Oh, what have I done? Will she be okay? I asked, shaking. With antipsychotics, her hallucinations and paranoia should be under control. Hey, I have an idea. Why don't you all make her a get well soon poster? She would really appreciate it. Oh, great, I can't skip out on this. I'll feel so guilty making the poster. Great idea, Morgan said with his face appearing bright and glowy for once. He clearly got most, if not all, the DXM out of his system by now. It felt great to see him happy for once. Yeah, sure, Madeline said before doing the most adorable thing ever. She linked her arm with mine, and we both walked to draw the poster. It reminded me of those old 50s movies where couples would do the cheesiest things imaginable. I'm a sucker for the cheese, though. How do I make a poster that doesn't sound ingenuine? Do any of you know what Ashley's favorite color is? I asked. Orange, she says it's one of the most underrated colors, and I agree, Madeline replied, smiling. I love orange, Morgan replied. Oh, that's just great. Why did it have to be orange out of all the colors? I can't stand that color after what happened. So I'm guessing I'm going to be the one to draw? I asked, getting anxious about being judged. The fear of judgment is one of my worst fears. You're the most skilled of us by far, so I'd say so, Madeline replied, messing around with her hair again before letting out a yelp. All good? I asked, looking in her direction. Accidentally tore my hair out. I really need to stop the habit, she replied with a heavy sigh. What should I draw? I asked, looking at the two. Just draw something that you think will be special. It can be anything, really, Madeline replied, sliding one of her hands into mine. What did I do to deserve someone like her? Why is the universe rewarding me for committing so much evil? I decided at that moment to draw her lying in her hospital bed surrounded by us and a bunch of flowers. Sure, it was cheesy, but it was the best thing that I could come up with. As I started drawing, I swear there were certain moments where time skipped forward and backward. I realized this because I would work on the same lines repeatedly in a manner that set my déjà vu on fire. And the skips weren't subtle either. The surrounding environment would constantly jerk like an unstable camera. I would also keep getting these horrible electric shocks throughout my body, making me feel like I was being tazzed. I swear I almost went crazy from what was happening. You're shaking, Madeline said, concerned. I'm fine, I just keep imagining her going through all of this pain right now. It sucks, man, I replied, sighing with a shaky breath. She'll be okay, I promise, she replied, squeezing my hand. As I continued drawing, my brain started looping my last conversations with Maynard over and over. It was incredibly distracting as I could barely focus on drawing the flowers because of it. All I could hear was, "Give me one reason I shouldn't blast you to pieces right now," and him laughing like a maniac. While the constant loops in thought distracted me, I subconsciously drew an amaryllis. I realized this in horror when I looked back. In fact, it looked just like the one I put on my dad's grave. Dread filled my nerves, and I almost thought of erasing it before remembering how strange that would have seemed of me to do. Great. Is that a lily? It's gorgeous. Morgan asked, looking over my shoulder. Close, it's an amaryllis, it's my favorite flower, I replied, trying not to scream in agony. Just how badly did I mess up time? I had one, but my cat kept trying to eat it, Madeline said, giggling. You have a cat? I asked excitedly. Cats are one of the cutest animals in existence. Yep, he's a munchkin, his legs are so small they're almost non-existent, she replied, giggling. Could I borrow him permanently? I asked, laughing. Sure, as soon as you finish the poster, she replied, knocking on my head as my father did. I still felt the pain from our last phone call. What was it that had changed him so much? Was I responsible for it? Even if something isn't my fault, I always feel like it is. When I resumed drawing the poster, the time skips got so bad that I swear I kept drawing the same line every 2 seconds. Every time it happened, it got progressively more and more infuriating. Imagine if you're trying to do something, but no matter how hard you try, you can never finish it. That's how it felt for me. Right before I reached my breaking point, I finished the poster, and it looked amazing if I do say so myself. Despite being distracted and experiencing all those thought loops and time skips, I found no noticeable mistakes in it, which I found surprising. I love it, babe, Madeline replied with a grin, showing the poster to Morgan. Nice, let's give it to Ashley, he said excitedly as he walked out of the room and gave it to the front desk. They grabbed a large manila folder and packaged it up. It felt great to not have to look at the Amaryllis anymore. Hey, let me show you something cool, Madeline said excitedly, leading me by the hand down the hall while all the staff were distracted. What did she see? While we were practically running in the halls, I experienced a massive time skip forward and found myself in her room. How long had I been there? I won't lie, I felt a little scared at that moment from not knowing how I ended up there. God, she looked so beautiful at that moment. Her amber eyes shone like flames and were practically begging me to kiss her. My mind started playing the Paul Anka songs Put Your Head on My Shoulder, and I took the massive risk of kissing her. I've had something on my mind for a while, I said shyly, smiling. What is it? She asked while blushing salmon pink. Just this, I replied, grabbing her face and pulling her in. Her lips were so soft and gentle that I felt like I was sinking into them. Everything negative that had ever bothered me disappeared and was replaced with joy. All I wanted was for this moment to never end. While we were kissing, I experienced yet another time skip and found myself lying in my bed, grinning like an idiot at the ceiling. I knew what I did, and I didn't regret a thing. I swear, at that moment, I felt like I could take on the entire world. I know what you did, Morgan said, lying facing me with a tiny smile. Good, I regret nothing, by the way, I replied, smiling even more. I wouldn't either. Hey, this is off topic, but I want you to read this book, it's really short, he said, handing me a book called Cut by Patricia McCormick. Have you gone through self-harm? I asked, basing my assumption on the title of the novel. Yeah, guys self-harm too, but no one seems to think about us, he replied with a frown. You know, a little birdie once told me there's a light at the end of every tunnel, I said with a smile, trying to cheer him up. Promise? I promise. When will it happen, do you